Hi everybody, I'm Josie Gastiala. So Leland grew up in Honolulu and attended my alma mater, McKinley High School. Yay, go Tigers! Um, and he went to UH Manoa at the University of Washington. He received his bachelor's and master's degree in chemistry. Leland spent part of his career as an active duty in the Army as a chemical officer and retired as a full colonel. Leland worked at the Oahu Civil Defense as the hazardous materials officer until retirement. He is now enjoying his time watching his grandkids grow up. So Leland Nakai has been growing orchids since the late 90s. An interest sparked after meeting Penny Hatal selling orchids in the downtown area. He has grown many different orchids and learned that Vandas grow best for him. With the large growing nature of most Vandas, he decided to investigate growing the much smaller Vanda falcata. This famous little orchid proved to be more manageable and better suited for him. Everyone, Leland Nakai.
Thank you for that introduction. And thanks for inviting me to give this presentation tonight. Talked about my background, basically chemistry, spent a career in the Army as a chemical officer, and then another career at the Oahu Civil Defense Agency as a hazardous materials officer. So everything's kind of connected to chemistry and so forth. Today, I'll be giving an overview of the history of Vandas, their botany and culture. I'll talk about my practices. These are the resources. This guy is well known, and if you want to learn more about Vandas, that's a good resource to check out. Ascosendas, which basically look like Vandas but are smaller, a little more vibrant and colorful. Rather small, but very nice. History. Western travelers observed and described Vandas back in the 17th century. Vanda was established, the name Vanda was established in 1795. It's derived from ancient Sanskrit and is referred to the sacred mistletoe found on oak trees. The genus was established in 1820 with Vanda tessellata. Vanda is a genus of the subtribe Sarcanthinae of the Vanda tribe. The species of Vanda are only found in the eastern hemisphere, from northern India to the Mariana Islands to southern India, Sri Lanka, and northern Australia. So the eastern hemisphere. Most of the early work to develop Vanda hybrids was done in Florida and Hawaii, but now Thailand is in the forefront of Vanda hybridizing. Today, most Vanda hybrids have one of the 5 species in their background: Sanderiana, Cerulean, Tricolor, Luzonica, and Diarii. Vanda Sanderiana. cerulean, tricolor, lusanica, and diarrhea. Vanda Tokyo Blue Sapphire is well known, large flowers, bright color. There's Larry with his Vanda Tokyo Blue Sapphire. They are monopodial, fan-like growth from a single central point. They continue going upwards. I heard one grower say that his father had a Vanda plant that grew over the top of the house, over to the other side. So that must have been decades of growth. Pretty amazing. Strap leaf, semi-terete, and terete. The terete looks like a little round pencil, and strap leaf we most recognize as the regular kind of Vanda. Sandriana is basically in its separate genus, mainly because of a technicality. Light is the most important environmental factor. Bright but filtered, intensity and total amount. There's max intensity that you should be concerned about. Symptoms of excessive light: blanched spots, leaves turn to kind of yellowishy green, shorter and narrow leaves. Symptoms of insufficient light, susceptible to fungi and bacteria. They bloom less frequently. Flowers are of poor quality. Leaves are dark green and longer and wider. The ideal conditions are found in northwestern Thailand. That's where it is basically in the world. Compared to Hawaii, relatively close. Thai Vanda growers use slatted wooden structures. The roofing slats are spaced several inches apart and run north and south, so when the sun passes over, they have the exposure throughout the day as they go through the slats. They're grown in slatted baskets, little or no media. Roots are allowed to hang freely, and floors are covered with sand. Plants are watered daily. Temperature sounds like Hawaii. Humidity range is optimal. You can control humidity by misting and watering. And watering should be done 1 to 2 times a day. Require a lot of water because the water is stored in the root structure. They don't have pseudobulbs like other orchids. Once over lightly, followed by drenching, and we want them to be green, not partially green, the roots. First water in the morning, last watering a little bit later in the afternoon to allow water to dry from the leaf surfaces. Symptoms of too infrequent watering: long aerial roots, loss of lower leaves, desiccated leaves. Good air movement is required to dry the plant and reduce the chance for bacteria and fungi growth, and to facilitate the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide at the leaf surfaces, and to dissipate heat from direct solar radiation. My problem is overcrowding, like many of us. Leaves are firm to the touch, not limp or desiccated. Roots are abundant, branch plump with bright green or reddish brown tips. Stressed, dead or dying roots. Heavy feeders and require frequent fertilization since they don't have pseudobulbs. Aerial roots have no surrounding medium to release nutrients. And water quality is an important consideration. You should have an idea of the quality of your water. Get a report from the Board of Water Supply. Nutrition, NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. N should come from nitrates. It's directly available from nitrates. You don't want N nitrogen to come from ammonium and urea, because that requires warmth and other steps. So nitrates is the best. NPK gives you an idea of how you can manage that. Regimen by Robert Fuchs, use Peters 20-20-20, 10-30-20, and Super Thrive. How many use Super Thrive? Not really well known. Moats maintains that if your water is alkaline, the P will interfere with the absorption of micronutrients. He recommends the use of low phosphorus fertilizers. Does not advocate watering before applying fertilizers. I like to water my plants first and then fertilize. Tie growers, 21-21-21, 1 teaspoon per gallon weekly, and then the switch to high phosphorus fertilizer and glucose solution, glucose, sugar, 1 teaspoon per gallon. David Rove, calcium nitrate every 6th feeding, and the use of sugar. It's beneficial, but obviously if you use sugar, it's going to attract bugs, ants. Okay, the pH is a measure of acidity or alkalinity, 7 being neutral, 1 being acidic, 14 being alkaline. Ideally, you want to keep it slightly less on the acidic side. It's best for your Vandas. If the pH is greater than 6.5, you may lose some of the elements. And if it's too alkaline, too basic, you can adjust it by adding phosphoric acid. Best is to use slatted wooden baskets, no media, or perforated clay pots, no media, plastic pots, cut holes in the side. I'll have pictures of those. Protruding roots are okay. Root pruning are okay. I don't like doing that though. Roots may also be tied or knotted if they're too long. Topping of the plant is okay if the top portion has 2 or more roots. I don't do that. And the bottom portion may produce new keikis. You want to seal the cuts if you cut the plant. Relatively trouble-free, pests and diseases. Regular spraying program with disinfectant is good. Watch for sooty mold or algae. Increase the air circulation. Might consider a hard dry before the wet months. FISAN, monthly wet all surfaces to include walkways and benches. This is Thai fungus, disease of the leaf and not the whole plant. Treated with systemic fungicide, and some growers use clear nail polish on lesions to prevent the spread of fungus spores. Fusarium wilt, drench with lime water, use only nitrate and nitrogen fertilizer. Viral diseases, no cures, just hope we don't get that. scales, mites. Treat them with safer sun spray or ultrafine spray oil. Apply early in the day. I use Bayer 3-in-1 on the buds and use systemic insecticide Safari, Criterion, and Orthene applied weekly in rotation, and systemic fungicide Pagentocide Protect and Clearies 3336 applied weekly in rotation. I also use Physan to disinfect. Birds, bulbuls like to eat the flowers. Bird netting, I don't think they're effective. Shiny stuff doesn't scare them away. Airflow, I have Vandas hanging under a tree, in the shade, and some in full sun. Baskets, no media, and watering daily. Here's the nutrition that I use. That's urea-free. Urea-free and nitrate-containing. Calcium nitrate monthly. Air 3-in-1 on buds, Safari, Criterion, and Orthene, Pagentocide, and Protect Clearies 3336. Physan as required. Here's some photos of my Vandas, side of the house, corner, out in the full sun, hanging under a tree. Kind of clouded, so you see air circulation becomes a problem. Some nice flowers. There you see the roots coming out of the holes. No problem there. Here I have a wooden stake, but you know what happens to wood after a while. So this is plastic tubing. Use that to secure the tubes there. Sandriana alba. Sandriana. For those that may live in Mililani by 13 Acres Park, if you hang a left, you'll see these Sandrianas growing over there. Pretty spectacular. Notice they're growing in full sun. I concentrate now on Neophonetia falcata or Vanda falcata. Here are some of the Vandas with their flowers. They're grown in moss. You'll see some, I brought some with me tonight. There you see some nice root tips. So my one awarded plant that I named after wife Diane. And that pretty much concludes my presentation. Yes, Vanda falcata, a lot smaller than regular big Vandas, so a lot easier to care for. This is a small variegated Vanda, very expensive. But yeah, Vanda falcatas are very easy to take care of, and you know, it makes me happy. If you don't have these, I would recommend trying to go get them. They can be expensive, and I don't know if you can get them here on island. I order them from this lady back in Minnesota. No more questions, thank you.